Hello, this is Marshall Zhukov, and here we are together again on YouTube. Yeah, it has been a while, I know, but some things, work and stuff like that, have come into play, and it's been more prudent for me to work 6 days a week than make some videos, so that's one of the reasons that it's been quite a while since my last video, but this is my redneck gun stand, I guess. This one, this was a gun broker auction. Perhaps somebody may recognize it if they were looking at it. And I was very close to stopping and giving up, but fortunately I wasn't outbid. My final bid stood. But this is what appears probably to some to be an M38 carbine. It's got a cutout over here. It's in an M44 stock. But it almost is an M38 carbine. As a matter of fact, it is a 91-38 carbine. And one of the reasons we can see, and I've featured 91-38 carbines before, 1905 Izhevsk, an 1895 Tula, and this one, it may be a little hard to see, but is indeed an 1894. We can barely see the 9 right there, and the 4, and there is the Russian G, representing year. And some may be able to make out the script on it, even though it's not exactly all there. It's pretty close. We can see the fancy arrow there, just barely the right side. There's the arrowhead in the circle, and then the rest of the Russian writing. The Sestroryetsk Weapons Factory. So this is a 1894 Sestroryetsk, and the tang indeed matches the barrel shank. This is a Czech modification. We can see these stamps here. This circle T right here, that's a circle T. It's been sanded a little bit, unfortunately. Somebody at some point, wherever, did some sanding on it. That's why the barrel shank is difficult to read. But here are our check marks from the Czech arsenal, which was done probably sometime during the Soviet era, 50s, 60s, 70s. And it is a Czech modified gun. The stock, it's got some really nice grain. I don't know if it's a Czech stock, or I'd be hard-pressed to believe it's Russian. But it's got some beautiful wood on it. Very nice. So the reason this is a 91-38 carbine is originally it was an M91 rifle. That was made in 1894 at the Sestroryetsk arsenal in Russia. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a little bit north of St. Petersburg. The bore in it actually isn't too bad at all. Let's see if we can't get some light in there. Take a quick peek. Haven't cleaned anything out yet in it. Yet. A little dirty, not too bad. Nice, nice rifling in there. Lands and grooves visible. That's certainly a good thing. It, I don't know where it was stored. I don't know any other history on it, other than it came from far away to get to me. A little bit of surface rust on here, maybe little pitting, hard to see really, but overall, I'm very satisfied with it. I think it was a good purchase. It's not often you see 9138 carbines. I don't think there's a lot of details on production numbers or dates of when they were produced, but they're definitely hard to find. The only one I had ever seen in person was the 1895 Tula that I bought not too long ago, which is also an antique. So I will get this thing taken apart. We will take a look at the underside of the tang, the rear tang back here, and we'll get it checked out. Real quick before I get everything taken apart, I guess we can just go over a brief nomenclature of the rifle. Of course, everybody knows this is the muzzle here. You've got your front sight, your cleaning rod, your hand guard, your barrel bands, and then you've got your barrel band retaining springs. There's two of them. The other one's covered up right there. Looks like there's two different types here. This is a milled one, and that one appears to be a stamped one. We can see the stock, of course, and these holes in the stock. This one has nothing in it, and this one has we can just see the glare of the metal off the table there. An insert, a metal insert with tabs right there to hold it in place. That is to help reinforce the fore end of the stock so the wood doesn't rip out when the dog collars are in it that are on the sling. And I'm not exactly sure how it's said. I'll have to look it up to be certain, but the word for it, as it's called, this is a sling slot escutcheon, or escutcheon. I'm not sure which way it's said, but escutcheon is probably pretty close. That's our recoil bolt that goes through the stock. Of course, we have our rear sight. When somebody refers to the barrel shank, that's this section of the barrel right here, basically where all the writing is on the rifles, the arsenal stamps, years, dates of production, etc., serial numbers. And then, of course, the receiver is from here back. And then here's our rear tang. So when somebody mentions the rear tang, this is what they're talking about. And all the Russian rifles have some type of date stamp and arsenal stamp underneath there. Now, not all of them have date and arsenal. Some have just arsenal stamps. But like Remington, the only ones that you can identify from the top are New England Westinghouse, because they stamp the top of their tangs with no date stamp, but only letter stamps with the arrows coming off of them, for those that know New England Westinghouse arsenal marks. And then, of course, we've got our trigger and our magazine trigger guard combination with our removable floor plate with the magazine follower. So we can't forget the bolt either. The bolt head, this is a connecting rod. It's been called some other things. The bolt body, which houses everything, and of course the firing pin we can just see right there with the cocking knob. And I wouldn't consider it a striker, I guess. It doesn't technically hit the primer, but cocking knob works for me because it's more of a knob, you can grab it. But and of course the butt plate. So that's a quick rundown on nomenclature of a Russian rifle. I did also suspect that this front barrel band retaining spring was not milled. Actually, it is milled. We can see it's just been milled out right there, and the end of this has been milled off. I'm not going to remove them. It's not necessary, but if they did need to be removed for any reason, on the Russian rifles, you can see small pinholes. There are two of them on the opposite side of the stock. A small punch or nail will be needed to tap it out nice and easy. They are brittle. They can break. I've been fortunate enough I've never broken one. But you'll definitely want to watch the opposite side, make sure it's not caught up on anything or there's nothing it will catch on so they don't break. These look to be free moving, and if they needed to be removed, shouldn't be an issue at all. But if they ever did need to be removed, it's quite an easy procedure. Just pay attention to what's going on and tap lightly so they don't break. So here is our arsenal stamp, which is the arrow, the Sestroryetsk arrow, and the 9 and 4 date stamp. Pre-1900 Russian arsenals stamped their rifles with 2-digit date stamps. So this one is in accordance with their pattern, the 9 and 4. And from what I've seen on Sestroryetsk made rifles, the arrow is usually in between the two numbers that represent the date. So this is indeed an antique. 1894 production, matches that of the barrel shank. Overall condition seems to be pretty good under the stock line. Looks like there's a little bit of old cosmoline on there. I think I'm probably going to just leave it. I don't think I'll do any cleaning on this particular one. The inside of the mag well looks good and clean, and from the top it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot interfering with function. I did take the bolt apart. It just the old dried up cosmoline and stuff in it. It kind of gets gummed up over the years. The handguard looks like, at first I thought it could have been brass end caps, but I think it's just steel. It looks like some shellac probably got on the tops of these end caps and makes it look like that. Get her to focus in here, but that's about it for the 1894 Sestroryetsk. It's a piece of cake to take them apart and put it back together. So with that said, we probably close the book on this chapter of the 1894, and hopefully soon I'll get a chance to shoot it. Now, it is set up with carbine sights. Originally the M91 sights were these were milled off right here. They're machined off. It looks like you can tell a little bit where the sight would have been. You can't really see any of the grooves from where they were. I've seen some that look to appear to be ground off, but this one is pinned in place. There is the pin right there that holds it on the barrel. Just like the M38 and M44 carbines, this has the sleeve that slides on the barrel and then is pinned in place. Of course, these are graduated out to 1,000 meters. So the remnants of the original M91 sights have been removed. Nicely done, I might add. So, a very interesting piece. I'm glad to have had the opportunity to obtain it. It looks like it should be a fine shooter. Of course, all the rifles that I get, I do like to shoot them, so we shall see how it does at the range. I'm hoping for good results. I wouldn't expect that it should be anything off the wall. So for now, Marshal Zhukov, signing out.